I told you this kid would go on to build a billion-dollar business? But to him, it wasn't always that obvious. This wasn't an early success story. And just like many students, he didn't know exactly what he wanted to do. So after graduating, he turned his hand to acting, going from gig to gig. But little did he know that this small decision would change his life forever. This is Ryan Serhant, world-renowned real estate broker, TV personality, author, and businessman. And today, I was lucky enough to get his advice for what he would have done if he were in your shoes today. But what is it that Ryan actually does? Well, I think it's best if he explains it.
I do a couple different things. I run a real estate brokerage. We run an education platform called Sell It, and then we run a production company called Serhant Studios. On top of that, I write, like I just mentioned, books, podcasts, speaking tours, television, and I'm sure there's other things.
Ryan's success story is a product of his childhood, but not in the small loan of $1 million kind of way. Ryan learned a lot of what it takes to be successful in sales by accident.
Every time we move a house, my parents would take me and my little brother down the street. We would have to knock on all the neighbors' doors and say, "Hi, my name's Ryan. Will you be my friend?" And it was super terrible and it was awful. That said, no one ever punched me or killed me. And it, as a little kid, just sort of built in this idea in my brain that all you have to do is just ask.
This lesson followed Ryan throughout school. And despite not liking most subjects and hating sports, Ryan found his passion, a passion that would follow him perfectly into his future: theater.
So fast forward, I go to school, go through it. I'm terrible at all sports. I don't really like, most of the subjects, but I was really good then at theater and English. Moved to New York to do theater, ran out of money really, really quick. And a friend told me in 2008, "Hey, you should get into real estate. It's the same skill. Improv, character, memorization, all that is sales. Because you're waking up, you're putting on your costume, you're going out there, you're being the authentic version that you want to put yourself out there as." And so I got my license the day the subprime mortgage collapse tanked the globe. From there, I just became addicted to the business and became addicted to building my own career and my own life and being my own boss. As much as I complain about it all the time, and I wouldn't want it any other way, because I believe that fate is what you create.
His stage presence eventually made it off stage and into the real world. Ryan's charisma, emotional intelligence, and passion were his three biggest weapons, and he rose to the top in no time.
I accidentally built incredible sales skills on stage. What you end up learning to do, and probably the best skill that I have, understanding that when you listen to someone, you're listening to respond instead of listening to reply. Because people love hearing themselves talk. Understanding that people hate being sold, but they love shopping with friends was another. To my girlfriends at the time, they would walk into a store and then they wouldn't want to be sold anything. But the minute they have a friend with them, it's like 10 dresses have been bought. because then there's that trust. So then the skill becomes, how do you build a know, like, and trust factor with a consumer base?
When you watch TV, you feel connected to it. And most of that is thanks to the performance of the actor on screen. Real estate, and all of business for that matter, is similar, according to Ryan.
One of the earliest things I learned when actually doing sales in real estate, it's okay, if I just talk about the numbers in the deal, I actually close a lot less. But if I talk about their heart and their feelings and how this place makes them feel, right? And how they emotionally connect to the space, I actually close a lot more. So if I try negotiating with their wallet, I won't be successful. But if I negotiate with their heart, I will be.
And just like companies like Apple, Gucci, or Ferrari, it's not about the price tag that comes with it when they sell, but about how their products resonate with the user. Ryan has mastered this idea.
I think a great product will sell itself if it is underpriced. In my world, in real estate, people will tell me all the time, this house is going to sell itself. Sure, if there's no price to it, and you let the buyer determine the price. But to get the absolute greatest ROI, it comes down to salesmanship and the ability to create the market and create the urgency needed to get that deal done where the seller's actually going to be happy. You still need salespeople to connect the dots there and turn what is a transactional experience into an emotional experience.
The times have changed since Ryan first got onto the scene. The world has changed. A key trait shared by all successful business people is that they can adapt to the times. And one of the most important changes in society has been the change in social media. You see, Ryan was one of the early adopters of using TV to sell real estate, appearing on $1 Million Listing from 2012 to 2021. It was an extremely successful show, and it drastically helped spread his work to a new audience. But he noticed one small issue with it.
It was very hard to share the TV show because there was no little arrow that you can press and send to a friend. On YouTube, that little arrow is my number one favorite product because it can take anything I put out there and go on and create passive awareness while I'm sleeping so that you can generate leads while you.
And this is where Ryan's knowledge of his audience and knowledge on networking catapulted him to a whole new level of success.
We use all the platforms we can to generate brand attention and awareness, and to kind of create that point of first substantive contact. So if you think about like sales 1.0, you would only sell to people you knew. You'd go to the local real estate agent office and you try to find someone and they would have to open up their file cabinet and get out of, you know what I mean? That was 1.0. 2.0 is like, okay, we're going to take all that and put it into screens. Now it's all there, it's all screens, but good luck trying to understand the information. The future of that, so like what is 3.0 of that process? I think all the screens go away. I think you use powerful tools, whether it's Web3, AI, plus the new resources we have at our fingertips today, plus logistics, plus human support, put all that together, and you have a much simpler platform to be able to close people that you meet on platforms like TikTok. We have agents here who are 22 years old who don't even understand how they would do their business if it were not for TikTok.
Ryan recognized the shift in media consumption and capitalized on it immediately. He now has over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, almost 2 million on Instagram, and over 700,000 on TikTok and Facebook.
And don't forget, the guy might not be on TikTok. All of my billionaire clients are on social media. Who do you think does all the work? People underneath them. So what do you think they do with all their time? They're sitting there looking for the next best investment. These are the guys that are DMing me more than anybody else. Who's really there? Their kids, their assistants, their bankers, their managers, their workers at their companies. Those people are influenced and then they share.
But that's not the only shift Ryan noticed. Listen to this gem.
What would your advice be to students or recent grads, people who are thinking about their next step? Like, what would be your biggest advice to them that would set them up for success?
My view on this and how to answer this question has definitely changed over the years. 5 years ago, I saw a stat, 23% of US taxpayers, just keeping this United States based, globally it's probably about the same, were filing a 1099, which meant that they were in some way, shape, or form part of the gig economy, which meant that they were making an income where they were selling something. Fast forward to today, that number is now 36%. In 2027/2028, over 50% of the workforce in the United States is going to consider themselves in some way, shape, or form part of that gig economy. So if the W-2 9 to 5 is no longer the be-all, end-all, then let's get ahead of that as best as we possibly can. Higher education doesn't need to be for absolutely everybody. So how can you, though, still self-invest and educate yourself to be as successful as you possibly can in the new economy? Whether you're going to EZA and doing the trainings that you have there, investing into yourself and to learn sales skills, regardless of what it is you do for a career, will only benefit your entire lifestyle.
We were privileged enough to hear some great insights from Ryan on growing his business all from scratch. And if you wanted to learn more directly from him, he's giving you 20% off his course where he teaches you the tricks and skills he's learned over a lifetime. You can go to sellitlikesirhan.com/EZA and use code EZA to get 20% off. Through years of hard work, dedication to his craft, and persistence, Ryan Serhant was able to build himself into one of the most successful and arguably the most famous real estate brokers. For me, the moral of his life story is that even if you don't know exactly where you want to be later on in life, the skills that you're learning today could very well set you up for wild success later on in life.